In this video, we will learn how to solve two-step equations. Before I show you how to solve a two-step equation, take a look at the equation shown here. 2x plus 3 equals 11. Pause the video and see if you can't figure out what would x have to be to make 2 times x plus 3 equal 11. If you said 8, that is correct. If you weren't sure, how could we figure this out? Well, if we know that 2 times something plus 3 has to equal 11, if we subtract 3 from 11, we know that 2 times x has to equal 8, since 8 plus 3 is 11. So once we figure out that 2 times x has to be 8, we can work backwards to figure out that 2 times 4 is 8. So x has to be 4. Let's talk about how we can show this like we were showing our work in the one-step equations. When you are solving a two-step equation, we are working backwards, given the answer, to find a missing variable. Therefore, we reverse the order of operations, which means we are going to add or subtract first, and then multiply or divide second. Taking a look at this equation, 3 times x minus 4 equals 11. Recalling whatever we do on one side of our equation, we have to also do on the other. So you can use that line to help keep your work organized. First, we're going to start off by eliminating the minus 4 on this side of the equation by adding 4. The minus 4 and the plus 4 equals 0, leaving us with just the 3x on this left-hand side. 11 plus 4 is 15, so we know that 3x has to equal 15 because 15 minus 4 is 11. And now to figure out what x has to be to make 3 times x equal 15, we can divide both sides by 3 because we want 3 divided by 3 to give us a positive 1x or just x. And 15 divided by 3 is 5. Let's try another example. 8 equals 14 plus y divided by 3. To start this problem, we want to first eliminate the 14 from this side of the equation because this is the side where the y is. So I'm going to start by subtracting 14 because 14 minus 14 will give us 0, leaving y over 3 or y divided by 3 on this right-hand side and a negative 6 on the left-hand side. Finally, to figure out what number divided by 3 equals negative 6, we can multiply both sides by 3 because this 3 over this 3 will cross simplify into a positive 1y, and 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Pause the video and take a moment to try these two examples. For this first example, you should have subtracted 5 from both sides, giving a negative 12 equals 4x, and then divide both sides by 4, giving us negative 3 equals x. In the second example, you should subtract 3 first, leaving us with x divided by negative 8 equals a negative 2, and then multiplying both sides by a negative 8 gives us x equals a positive 16. Okay, moving on to this next example, we are going to start by subtracting 9 here instead of adding 9, because the minus sign means we're subtracting the 3x, not the 9. So to make 9 cancel out, we actually have to subtract 9 on both sides. 9 minus 9 is 0. 6 minus 9 is negative 3, and on this side, we need to actually bring down that subtraction sign with the 3x because we are subtracting 3x, which now, because there's nothing else in front of it, becomes a negative 3x. So we have negative 3 equals negative 3x, and to get x by itself, we need to divide by a negative 3 because our goal here is to get negative 3 divided by negative 3 to equal a positive 1, so that it's x. And then negative 3 divided by negative 3 on the other side is also a positive 1. So x equals 1 in this example. Okay, and one final example in your notes here. We're going to start by subtracting 5 from both sides so that 5 minus 5 is 0, and negative 13 minus 5 is a negative 18, equals 3/4 times k. And then if you recall, when we have a fraction as our coefficient in front of the variable, this is when we use the reciprocal. So we flip 3/4 and we multiply both sides by 4/3 because we want the 4's to cancel and the 3's to cancel, leaving just the k on the right hand side. And over here, the 3 and the 18 can both divide by 3, leaving a negative 6 over here and a 1 down here, and 4 times negative 6 is a negative 24. Pause the video and give these two examples a try. In this first example, you would add 15 to both sides because a negative 15 and a plus 15 gives us 0. And we bring down the negative 6x, and 9 plus 15 is 24, and divide both sides by negative 6, giving us x equals negative 4. In our second example, you would be subtracting 2 on each side, bringing the 1/5 w and then now negative 5 from negative 3 minus 2 onto the right side. And then we are going to flip 1/5 and multiply both sides by 5 over 1, crossing out those fractions, giving us w equals negative 25. Here's a few others to try if you would like. Feel free to check your own answers when you're done.